I don't know if it was him or his girlfriend, but they were sending inappropriate pictures to the man I am with now.
It's the state's understanding that Ms. Wilson will testify to wanting non-disclosure while Mr. Rodriguez disagrees. And then with regard to support, Mr. Rodriguez is asking the court to consider a deviation based on travel expenses, but Ms. Wilson is in disagreement, because none of it has occurred thus far.
We've been operating under a temporary order in this matter. Folks are in agreement on several items, but we are looking at non-disclosure and deviation based on travel expenses. Obviously, the non-disclosure has a specific amount of information the court has to entertain before that is granted. And I will let you know, Mr. Rodriguez, my understanding is that the visitation has not taken place already. I need to get some history here, sir. The bottom line is I do not grant deviations very much unless there's a history of someone doing what they said they're going to do going forward. I used to do this in the past and it didn't work out well. Because the bottom line is good intentions and $1 million can buy you a Bugatti, but good intentions by yourself will not get you that vehicle. So still, sir, I need to see information that shows that this is going to happen going forward. And it's definitely going to happen. Otherwise, I will let you come back in a year and show me that you've been doing it, sir. Because again, to take away from mom's side to help you out is, well, it's kind of problematic. But anyway, does everyone live in Texas, Ms. Bongat, or does Mr. Rodriguez live somewhere out of the state of Texas?
He lives in Florida, Your Honor.
All right, then. Well, obviously, I've had jurisdiction, and I'll get some and also give me some information who moved where. Did he leave Texas, or did she come here? So let's find out what's going on.
Who is Christian's father?
Marc Anthony Rodriguez.
And ma'am, what state have you all lived in together, if any?
Texas.
And who was the person, well, when you all separated, did Mr. Rodriguez stay in Texas or immediately move to elsewhere?
He was in Texas. We separated in March. He moved to Florida in end of August, early September.
What year was that, please?
2023.
And previously, ma'am, we had a temporary order since October 26th. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
And is it correct, ma'am, that you're wanting that order finalized in its entirety with the addition of the court addressing the issue of non-disclosure?
Yes.
Why is it, ma'am, that you want this court to find that your contact information should not be disclosed in its order or to Mr. Rodriguez specifically?
November 7th of 2023, I had to call the cops for harassment because I don't know if it was him or his girlfriend, but they were sending inappropriate pictures to the man I am with now.
And ma'am, how do you know that it was him or his girlfriend?
Because he's the only one that had access to those pictures. I sent them to them. I sent them to him when we first split up and we were still messing around together.
And was anything done on your part, ma'am, as far as police report, charges, etc.?
I did police report through Harris County. I have an incident number. I have the cop's name, the number, and everything like that.
And ma'am, given the date of that after this court order where you and he were supposed to communicate through app close?
Yes.
Do you all and he already have contact information such as physical address at that time?
He only had my phone number and my email. He does not have my address.
And ma'am, other than this incident of harassment that you believe to be him or his current significant other, are there any other reasons you believe harm, harassment, or danger will occur based on your contact information being disclosed?
Yes.
What else was there, ma'am?
He has threatened to slap me and my boyfriend.
When did that threat occur?
It happened, it was while he was still living in Houston. So in between August, September.
Was that something, or how was that threat made? In person, verbally, writing?
It was on the phone and in person.
Anything else besides that threat, ma'am? And ma'am, how long ago had you gotten that incident report out of Harris County?
It was on November 7th, 2023.
Okay. On this issue, ma'am, was there anything else you wanted the court to consider?
Just to reiterate that app close is for just the parents and our son, and there's no third parties, because I have received messages from his girlfriend off the app and his cousin. He admitted to me that he did not have access to the app. It was on his girlfriend's phone because he did not want to deal with it.
Okay. Moving on, ma'am, to the issue of a deviation from Guideline Child Support. Is it correct, ma'am, that you are not in favor of that at this time?
No, I'm not.
Since the temporary orders have been in place, ma'am, has there been any in-person visitation by Mr. Rodriguez and Christian?
No, we had decided this past weekend. I found out he was coming to Texas. He was supposed to pick up Christian. And about 3 hours after we decided he was going to get him for the weekend, he told me last minute that he couldn't pick him up, but he still came to Texas. He's been coming to Texas, hasn't tried seeing him except for that one time.
How do you know that he actually made it to Texas, ma'am?
Because he had picked up him and his girlfriend had picked up her daughter who lives in Texas and told me through the app that he did, but he didn't bother to ask because he knew I was going to say no. And that was for Christmas. And then we had a conversation about him coming to Texas on Thursday. He was going to pick up Christian Thursday, drop him off Sunday. And he decided last minute he wasn't going to, he was not anymore.
And ma'am, are you requesting that this court impose a notice requirement as far as timeframes if one isn't already in place?
Yes.
Any specific time frame you're wanting?
For spring break right now, since he's not in school, I said the weekend of I think it was the 23rd, that he could go and get Christian and he could keep him until April 10th. But he said that he wasn't going to do that. He was going to do it on the 28th since they already have to come to Texas and pick up her daughter, that those were the only dates that worked for him.
And so, ma'am, I realize you're trying to plan it in advance, but were you wanting a week's notice, 2 weeks notice, lasting a week or longer? Or if he was closer and was going to do first, third, and fifth, 72 hours to 48?
Since he's in Florida, I want at least 3 weeks ahead of time so we can plan things. And if he is needing help with the plane tickets, I told him the last court date, I have no issues paying every once in a while. I will pay for Christian's ticket alone. But I need at least 3 weeks in advance if he plans on for a week or more. If he comes to Texas, I'm okay with a few days in advance that he's coming to Texas.
Okay, ma'am. And then with regard to Mr. Rodriguez's physical address, phone number, are you aware of all of those things?
Yes, they were in the court documents, the temporary orders.
Anything else, ma'am, on these two issues you wanted the court to consider?
No, that's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Your Honor, I pass this witness.
All right, Ms. Wilson will be back to you in just a moment. Call your next witness then, Ms. Von Gatt.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Marc Rodriguez. Sir, what is your full name?
Mark Anthony Rodriguez.
How are you related to Christian?
His father.
And sir, were you able to hear my opening statement to the court?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you agree that there were only two issues you and Miss Wilson were disagreeing about?
Correct.
And that the temporary or from before were fine with you except for these two things?
Yes.
And so, sir, at this time, do you already have Miss Wilson's contact information?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Do you already have Miss Wilson's contact information?
I just contacted her through app close, that's all.
Okay. And is there a reason, sir, that you're not in agreement with her request that this court not require her to disclose her physical address to you?
That's not an issue. I don't need it disclosed.
Okay. And so, sir, going forward, when you're picking up your son for visitation, are you and she going to do that in a public location that's already been set?
Yes, ma'am. It hasn't been set yet, but that's the plan, to do it in a public location once she agrees to pick up.
Okay. And so, sir, is it correct that you are no longer a Texas resident?
Correct.
Has it been the case since last fall?
September, yes.
Okay. And then, sir, what county did you and she reside in when you were in Texas?
I was in Harris County.
Okay. And so do you have any ties to the Central Texas Bell County area at all?
I have some with my current fiance's daughter.
Okay. So, sir, is it correct that you were asking this court to consider changing your child support amount based on the expenses you are going to expend for travel?
Correct, based off of the actual days that I'm allowed to get him, which is the long visitation, spring break, and summer.
And so, sir, do you know what the actual cost is so that the court can decide what, if any, deviation is appropriate?
When I did the plane tickets, it was about $1,300 for 2 tickets round trip.
And sir, and was that a particular airline, sir, or just a generic?
It was just a generic, just to try to find the cheapest ticket. But I mean, I can drive as well. It's fine. I can do that too.
And sir, is it correct that since the temporary orders went into place, you have actually been in Texas?
I did go to Texas. I ended up catching the flu, which I said it was better for me not to get him, yes.
Okay. And have those travels also been by plane or have you driven?
I only drove to Texas once.
And sir, do you have any problems with there being a notice requirement as far as whether or when you're going to exercise any specific visitation period?
No, ma'am, because per my understanding, I have April 1st to be able to establish those date requirements through or with her by April 1st, correct?
As far as
2021.
summer, correct, sir?
Yes,
And then as far as spring break, given that Christian is not yet enrolled anywhere, you and she don't have a set time to decide when that's happening.
no, ma'am.
Let's see. So, sir, you are only anticipating spring break, summer, but not necessarily Christmas or Thanksgiving?
That's Christmas. It said it was even number year, so it wouldn't be this year. Or it was odd. I can't remember. I just have to read it again, but it's every other year. But yes, I do intend on having them, well, whenever it's my
Okay.
time.
Anything else, sir, you wanted the court to consider on either of these two issues? Or sorry, just this one, since it's the remaining contested one.
No, that was it.
And so, sir, on the court looking at that number, you're wanting the child support to change from the current 1,543 to something that takes into account the potential plane ticket cost.
Yes, ma'am.
And sir, you said that you having the flu currently is the only reason visitation hasn't occurred.
Yes, ma'am. And plus, it wasn't in as one of my visits. But yes, that's why I had the flu.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Your Honor, I pass this witness.
All right, thank you. All right, ma'am, but was not in pre-K this year?
No, sir. He will start kindergarten in August this year.
Okay, so he's gonna start kindergarten, but he wasn't in pre-K this year, correct?
No, he was not.
Okay. All right, folks, going forward, y'all need to, no matter, here's the deal, when you got these things, it's the ISD that you live in that controls those dates, ma'am, as far as the order is concerned. So, and now that he's gonna be in school next year, that's obviously gonna be the case, but even before they're in school, you always look at ISD. So dad will need to know the ISD that you're located in, because his schedule is gonna be based on that going forward, ma'am. Okay, so.
I actually did look up the ISD already. I live in a Leaf ISD and it starts March 11th, the week of March 11th.
Right. Yeah. So obviously next year that's going to really control, but for right now, yeah, we'll see what it is. All right. Anything on redirect to Ms. Wilson, Ms. Longat?
Briefly, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ms. Wilson, are you aware of the cost for plane tickets?
Yes, I am.
And so what Mr. Rodriguez testified to was something you were expecting to either cover or see deducted or credited in some way?
Not to that amount, no, because I've found plane tickets as low as $150 to Florida. So, and I said I don't have any problems if he's in a bind. I can use what he's supposed to send for a ticket for Christian. I have no issues, but he needs to come and see his son. That's what he needs to do.
And ma'am, as far as what you were anticipating, it was for Mr. Rodriguez to make the trip to Texas and then go back with him. You were not going to be doing halfway, correct?
Right.
Thank you, ma'am. Your Honor, I pass this witness.
All right. Thank you. Anything else from any other questions of the father?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and give everyone else a chance to tell me something else that they didn't come out already. And I'm going to start you, sir. What else are you asking the court to do? Or is there something else you think I need to know?
No, sir. I just will we be able to evaluate the child support in 4 months once my child is born? Is that a possibility, or I wait further than that?
Sir, if another child is born, then you I'll obviously have the right to do so. But if you're going to go to the state, it may take a while. You hire your own lawyer, you can get it taken care of at that point, sir.
Okay.
But yeah, once the child is born and there's no special needs, then then that's when you can get back in one way or the other, sir.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? Any other questions, sir?
No, sir. That's it.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to ask you next. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I want it to be reiterated that there is no parties on the AppClose app.
Oh yeah, that's not going to happen going forward.
Okay, it needs to be
sir, what I'm doing is I'm entering a permanent injunction against any third party using that app to contact the mom. That's between you and she. And what a permanent injunction means, sir, if you violate my injunction and it's shown that you violate my injunction, next time you're in Texas, I can give you 180 days, sir. Okay?
Yes, sir.
I don't play these relationship games.
Yes, sir.
I'm like Danny Glover. I'm too old. All right.
I have one question about that, sir.
All right, I'll get to you. Let me finish with mom first.
Yes,
all right. Yes, ma'am. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, sir, what's your question?
Just in regards to the app, can we just make sure that she also keeps it just about my son and not my relationship or her problems with me, and just keep it
Okay.
about visitation and that's
Well,
all?
I'm getting ready to change the visitation package a little bit. I'm getting ready to go ahead and order the long distance. Either you got to come in, pick the child up, or you got to make, he's too young to fly alone. So either you got to
Correct.
fly to get him, and I think he's even too young for you to have to pay someone to escort him. But there's a long distance package that we already have as far as an order is concerned, that's going to deal with the fact that he can eventually fly with escorts in probably the next 2 to 3 years. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And I'm thinking that one requires at least 30 days advance notice, because yeah, everybody's got to get their ducks in a row and everything set up. Because again, if you're going to use that method, yeah. So everybody needs to know when you're going to do it, what the time frames are, and I think if it's not 30 days, I'm going to make it at least everything be done at least 30 days in advance, so everyone can get their everything set up. But there will be the long distance visitation travel package as far as this child's concerned going forward, and the state will get a copy of that and it'll be included in the order. And if you have any questions about that, you can ask the state, or you can actually come back to court and ask me if necessary. But anyway, I'm gonna definitely throw that in there. And ma'am, yeah, the app is for you communicating about the child, and sir, it's only about the child, not about your personal relationships one way or the other. Just for that data, and yeah, and that's the way it'll be going forward. So the only thing I still got, you're in agreement that the non-disclosure is granted, but it's still, folks. Ma'am, which county you live in?
Right now, I'm in Harris County.
All right, I usually make when I get parties acting out, I usually always make my exchanges at the police or sheriff's department closest to your residence, ma'am. And I'm thinking about doing that at this time also, because the bottom line is people have a less tendency to act out when there are a bunch of law enforcement officers around and high definition cameras. So yeah.
That is perfectly fine by me.
All right, then y'all can agree to something different, but that's going to be right now. That's going to be in the court order that exchanges will take place at that. Is there any other questions the state has before I start making a ruling?
No other questions, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Bongat, what's the child support amount?
That one, Your Honor, was $1,544.
And that's one child by itself, or one child in, or any others, please?
One child only, Your Honor, although it sounds like in 4 months that'll change.
Okay, so we're going to go, it's not going to change that much. It's 250 plus another 125. So it'll go about 375 a month, but that's about it off the top of my head. So yeah. 2.5%. Yeah. Yeah. So all right, folks. I'm looking at naming you. Yeah, keeping everything as per the temp. I'm looking to go ahead and making sure everybody still use app close. And again, only the parties themselves can use use app close to communicate with each other, no third parties. I'm gonna go ahead and order that. I'm gonna order child support, but I am gonna deviate slightly based on the information right now. And since the dad may be looking at a downward grade later on, I'm only gonna deviate by $100 a month at this point to help with the transfer expenses. But that's it. So instead of 1,500, and what's the amount, Ms. Bunga, again?
1,544, Your Honor.
I'm looking at making it 1,444 going forward, giving them that's $1,200 extra a year back, sir, to help you with some expenses. And if you come back later and show that you're doing this 3 times a year, but believe me, I got one guy that comes down further than you do, and he does it 5 to 6 times a year to see his child, and I give him a big benefit for that, because he wants to be, and he's got a history of it. So if you give me the history, you can get there. But for right now, I'll deviate 100. And if we're looking at modifying the child support, obviously that's going to change everything. So for right now, I'll do it, make it 1,440. I'm going to go ahead and order that we use the long distance visitation and the long distance I don't want to call it transfer, the long distance travel information as far as airlines are concerned. Obviously, dad can do the pickup and drop off if he wishes, but if he wishes to have the child escorted someday going forward, then the long distance escort plan will go into effect, and it will be included in the order. Do you have a copy of this, Bongat, or do I need to send a new one over to you?
I believe it's in this order, Your Honor.
Okay.
From the temporary order starting on page 19.
Okay, good enough then. And I'll also go ahead and grant the non-disclosure. However, each parties are ordered. I want them communicating through app close. And but I'm going to go ahead and order that each party maintain an email address that they can contact each other with and a phone number. It's just for emergency purposes only, but everything should go through app close. But just in case there's an emergency, something happens, app closes down, that's still available. And each other, they are to keep each other informed of at least the county they live in. That way, all plans can be made around those transportation necessities from that county to county. So, and sir, have you ever been a first responder in the United States military?
Yes, sir.
You were in the military?
Yes, sir.
All right, waive court military service. Is there anything else that I need to specifically rule on, Ms. Von Gack?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'll start with you, Ms. Wilson. Questions?
No, I'm good.
All right, Mr. Rodriguez, questions, sir? Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. All right, folks, those are going to be the new, you'll be getting the new order and everything should be set up on that. And again, sir, it's left up to you to get that information before the court as far as any type of modification concerned, like I say, either through the state or through private counsel if you wish. So anyway, like I said, I'll allow the state prepare the order and circulate it among both of you, and we're off the record.